Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Do you have a small farm, a big farm, or just critters in the backyard to feed? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you need to make the short drive down to A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee today. Owner and operator Jamie Ayers has you covered and will treat you right. That's A&B Feeds in Etheridge, Tennessee.
Arctic Air keeps your home or business comfortable. For more than 20 years, we provided outstanding residential and commercial services through southern Middle Tennessee. Whether you need assistance with your heat, air conditioning, preventive maintenance, or anything in between, trust our reliable team to get the job done. We'll take the time to figure out your specific needs and recommend what we believe is right and best for your situation.
We've been using Arctic Air for over 15 years now. Their service is great, they're here when we need them, and their prices are competitive. They take the worry out of the heat and air so I don't have to.
Arctic Air. When you need us, we'll be there.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome everybody to the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network, as we are back finally here on the Hayden Burks Show. And Michael, man, it's good to see you, bro. It's been a long time since we've been.
I know, it feels like it's been forever.
Absolutely. So, obviously, we'll jump right into it now. Basketball season it's almost over, but hey, we still got a good basketball team left. They're playing the state tournament. Actually, got a victory over Westview Lady Chargers. That is the Loretto Lady Mustangs. And Michael, I know you were listening to that game. Obviously, we're not able to stream it just because of TSSAA rules and streaming during the state tournament. So just what were your thoughts on that game with that big-time win against a very good 2A team in Westview, the Lady Chargers?
Well, you know, Westview is, I believe, back-to-back 2A state champions, so it's good to kind of get a leg up on them and, you know, get them out of the way, get a little bit closer to a state championship game. But the thing that impressed me the most about the Lady Mustangs yesterday was their ability to rebound the basketball and hit their free throws, because those are things that win you games late in the season. Lady Mustangs shot, around 70% from the line and out-rebounded Westview 21-12, and that was huge in that game, especially with how close it was.
Absolutely, and especially a good team as in Westview. Like you said, they out-rebounded them, made their free throws, and I mean, during this part of the season when it comes to postseason, that is what wins you a ball game when it comes to knocking down free throws, rebound the basketball, and just defensively getting stops. And obviously, I wasn't able to watch the game, but I was listening to the game. And obviously, Cam Mashburn and Brent Thomas were on the call for the game yesterday. And just it felt like from the jump, obviously Loretto, you're going to have Allie Weathers, J.B. Clifton, Libby Sanders, Kozar, every one of them contributing. But also, they talked about her a lot yesterday. Allie Augustine, the freshman, she has really, really come along for this Lady Mustangs team.
Yeah, she does not play like a freshman at all, and I saw that in the first game of the season for the Lady Mustangs back in November. And the way she's improved across the season, her defense has always been there. That offense is coming along, but just the spark she brings off the bench is really a key for the Lady Mustangs. The Lady Mustangs played 8 people yesterday. The thing with Westview, they played 6, and that 6th person only played 6 minutes, so they were really only playing 5 players. So the Mustangs are able to bring a bunch of people in off the bench and eat up some minutes and really contribute to their good performance yesterday. That's what's going to get them hopefully to Saturday.
Absolutely, and obviously you got to get to Saturday though, because they got also another game at 5:30 tonight. They're going to be playing Gatlinburg-Pittman, who is also a very good team. They come into this game tonight 34-3, and obviously it's going to be the same thing, Michael. You got to have some stops on the defensive end. You got to have your bench players, Allie Augustine, Jesse Chance coming off the bench, making big-time minutes, big-time plays. Allie Weathers, J.B. Clifton, all of them, they've got to have their game. Just describe what do you think it'll take for the Lady Mustangs to win tonight? Obviously, with those 3 things, making free throws, the bench play, and just rebounding the basketball.
Well, I know this from going to school up here for a little bit in Knoxville. These East Tennessee teams, man, they're hard-nosed. They might not have more skill on the floor than you, but they're not going to get outworked. So for the Lady Mustangs to win this game, they're just going to have to be physical, but be able to play physical and tough without fouling. Fouls always come in big, along with free throws and rebounding. But if they can, match Gatlinburg-Pittman's physicality, I think they have a good chance tonight, because you don't go 34-3 and make it to the state semifinal on accident.
Absolutely, and without a doubt, there you saying that. Obviously, you're 34-3. Lady Mustangs 28-3, but then again, also I believe I was talking to this before we even started the show. When it comes to those Knoxville teams, they obviously play more games, they play more classics, more tournaments, stuff like that. They see more than an opponent more than one time, maybe 2 or 3 times throughout the season. They see each other when it comes to district, region, sub-state, postseason play. You never know. Like Lawrence County, the boys played Tullahoma 4 times this year, and I mean that's a lot to play one team in 1 year, especially for them to even knock them off all 4 times, and especially for Gatlinburg-Pittman to be 34-3. It's not going to be an easy task for the Lady Mustangs, but obviously, I was talking to you before the show even started. I felt like Westview. I was a little nervous. I knew the Lady Mustangs, if they played their ball, they had a good chance to win. But also, Westview, like you said, been state champions before, been there several times in the past. It's just it's going to be hard for the Lady Mustangs to do it. But also, like Cam Ashburn said, Gatlinburg-Pittman, they're one of the top 2 teams in all of us here at the Exports Network, in our opinions, in Class 2A girls. Loretta Mustangs are one of those 2 teams as well, and I think they got a good shot at knocking off Gatlinburg-Pittman tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. I hope, everybody tunes in. Cam and Brent do a great job. I really enjoy listening to them call games. So, everybody tune in tonight and, let's cheer on the Lady Mustangs and hope they make it to tomorrow and, hopefully play for another state championship.
Absolutely. And it's been a while since they've gotten the big trophy, but, hey, this team is very special, and I believe they can do that. So, switching over now from basketball over to baseball now. And we were talking about on the show, Michael, and it's that time of the year. It's also baseball time for all 3 of our schools now. We are very blessed to have very good basketball programs, and it's going to be tiring for us here on the Exports Network. I know you're going to be coming home for spring break next week, or this upcoming week, actually. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be probably calling some baseball games and softball games. I'm really excited to see all of our 3 high schools go at it when it comes to baseball and softball, and obviously all 3 of our programs. They've, some of them have struggled in the past, some have been very successful, but there's a lot of problems for all 3 of our high schools this year.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something I think Loretto's baseball team put on Twitter or Instagram that they were, Loretto is preseason number 5 in the state for Class 2A, and Summertown preseason number 10. So, you got 2 top 10 teams in the state, on the north and south ends of the county. And Lawrenceburg, still a very young team, but, they got TJ Gobble coming back. They got Alex Bedford. He had a great season last year. I think they're going to make a big stride this year and surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, obviously the Lawrence County boys basketball team disappointed that they weren't able to make the state tournament, but hey, a great season overall. But I know Clint Wright, who was the assistant for the boys basketball team, I know he's disappointed, but also he is happy to finally get to baseball season and have those guys like TJ Gobble and Alex Bedford come join the team as well. And obviously, I've got the schedules pulled up for what's going to be coming up next week. And obviously, with Lawrence County, the boys will be traveling to Gulf Shores. And Michael, you and I were talking about it. That'd be a place we love to go. I know Kevin over here, he's the lucky one that gets to go on the trip. But I think it really will kind of show where the teams are at. Obviously, when you're going to a neutral site like that, going to a beach or something to play, or going somewhere you're not somewhere you're not familiar playing. Just describe what that the teams learn about each other, their players, their coaches. Playing in different environments, different as playing teams you're not going to be playing throughout the season. I mean, Lawrence County, they're going to be playing a team in Oklahoma. Just kind of, what do you think that brings to the table when it comes to all these teams and what they're going to learn?
Well, it kind of gives you that preview of later in the season, later in May and stuff like that, of how it's going to be in the state tournament, because you're not going to be at home. You're not going to be playing on a field you've played on all year, and you're not going to be playing teams typically you're not going to be playing teams you've been seeing all year. So being able to get that early in the season, get these younger and older guys really bonding together, and you get a week at the beach and you get to play some baseball. So, it's all fun and games, but, it's really important to have these trips like this, to be able to have the teams bonding and that builds some incredible chemistry on and off the field.
It does, absolutely, especially for the teams that are going on this Gulf Shores tournament. It's going to be the Lawrence County baseball team, Summertown baseball and Summertown softball. They'll be playing in the Gulf Shores tournament, so excited to see those teams play. Lawrence County, they'll be playing Wayne County, the softball side, next week. And, the Lady Cats of the softball team, they came along strong last season. Obviously, they were a lower seed in their district, but they made a push in the postseason. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. But also, Loretta, they're just they are all around a sports school: football, baseball, and football, baseball, basketball, and softball. But when it comes to this time of the year, it seems like Loretta fans love this time of year when it comes to baseball and softball.
Yeah, the weather gets warmer. You get to go out to the ballpark and you get to watch some really good, kids play ball. Loretto has been, dominant in baseball for, it feels like, forever. It's pretty much just been the past decade. Summertown as well. It's really good to get, warmer weather, go out to the park and watch some ball, because, we've seen some really good players come through this county in the past, and, hopefully we're getting to see the next generation of it right now.
Absolutely. And speaking of those players, you obviously got Ryan Weathers, who is a pitcher in the MLB, and also Blade Tidwell, who also is in the big leagues as well. So obviously a lot of big names out of Loretta. Obviously great talent, not only in this county, but mainly coming out of Loretta. Lawrence County and Summertown, they've got some good players as well. So I'd love to see these teams match up against each other and see what they bring to the table against one another in the county rivalries.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun to watch. Hopefully we get to see, Summertown, Lawrence County, Loretto, and, of course, Summertown, Loretto being in the same district. We'll get to see them play a handful of games against each other. I think we're going to be in for a fun spring, Hayden.
Absolutely. So I'm excited for that time. Well, coming up next here on the Hayden Burks Show, we will be talking about basketball, SEC regular season champions, Tennessee Volunteers, what to expect coming up in the tournament and the national tournament, and then also what's going on in the world of the NBA. That's coming up next here on the Hayden Burks Show.
Financial advisor Scott Beasley knows time spent with family is everything. As a founder of Beasley Wealth Management, his mission is to give clients the freedom to enjoy time with family without the burden of financial concerns. A local of Lawrenceburg, Scott deeply values building relationships with clients, ensuring they make informed decisions concerning asset management, tax planning, and retirement planning. Offering a free initial consultation, Beasley Wealth Management helps clients pursue their aspirations with confidence. A local law firm respected throughout the state. Generations of clients have turned to Boston, Holt, and Durham since 1948. We assist individuals and businesses with their legal needs, including real estate, property closings, personal injury, employment discrimination, and family law. Our clients get the personal attention and convenience of a hometown law firm with the resources and ability to handle any case. Come see us at Boston, Holt, and Durham.
It's never too late to change your career or to go back to school. The decision to go back to school wasn't easy. Look at me, a wife, a mother, a degree in dental for 17 years. But here I am at LTC, studying towards a career in cosmetology, and it's been the best decision I have ever made.
At C&B Linen, fast, friendly, and reliable service is our promise to you. Because you're not just a customer, you're family. From multi-use linen to branded floor coverings and a complete range of cleaning supplies, C&B Linen is here to make sure you have everything you need. From our high-quality products to our fast, friendly, and reliable service, you'll experience the difference with C&B Linen. Because you're not just a client, you're part of our family. You'll be winning with C&B Linen.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network. As Michael, it's time for the talk. It's basketball time. Obviously, the Tennessee Vols defeated the South Carolina Gamecocks in South Carolina and won the SEC championship, the regular season title. So that's big time for them. And what just overall the game, what'd you get out of that performance?
That game took a couple years off my life, man. I tell you, watching Tennessee sports is, it's going to give me heart problems by the time I'm 30. But just an all-around great performance. We saw Tennessee play South Carolina in Knoxville back early in February. Didn't go the Volunteers' way, but you knew it was going to be a slow, grinded-out type of game. I think it was 63-59 in Knoxville. In South Carolina, the score was pretty similar, low scoring. But we needed to see some other guys step up. When that game was in Knoxville, Dalton Connect really did all the work. Nobody else, I think, was even close to double figures. Dalton Connect had a big game, 26 points. You had, Ziegler, really good job, not turning the ball over, distributing. And then you had the older guys, Triple J and Santi doing their thing. And then, Adu and Tobey Awaka did a really good job in the post.
Absolutely. It's just overall, me personally, the first thing I think of when it comes to Tennessee basketball, obviously, they're fine offensively. The defensive end, though, in my opinion, just unreal defensively. They're just so long, so active on the defensive side. Obviously, you got Dalton Connect. In my opinion, he's a little underrated when it comes to defensive side. Obviously, we know what he is offensively. He is a legit three-level scorer, can beat you in the paint, mid-range, and can beat you from the three. But just overall, this defense, in my opinion, is probably one of the best defenses in all of the NCAA Division I.
Yeah, he came in and you knew he came to Tennessee because he wanted to get his defense ready to go to make that jump to the NBA. And I think he made a great choice coming to play for Rick Barnes because he knew he was going to be able to expand his offensive game a little bit. But the improvement he's made on the defensive side of the ball just in this season, just what we've seen from October now to March has been incredible. Usually teams are trying to put a good score that try to match them up together. And he's held his own. He's a lanky defender. He's athletic, and that's really helped. He had 3 or 4 steals in a couple games in the past couple of weeks. So his defense has made that jump to where Tennessee can be a team like Houston and, score 50, 60 points and win a game. But they can also be a team like Kentucky and put up 80, 90, or 100 points and really just run you out of the building. Absolutely.
And Tennessee obviously showing that they're one of the top. They are the top dog in the SEC, but then again, it's going to be tough though, because everybody knows this. We've talked about it several times when it comes to high school sports, NBA, and also college level. Postseason is a different animal. You never know what you're going to get in the postseason. Obviously, they're regular season champions, so they got a target on their back now. You got a very good Kentucky team. You got a very good Alabama team, in my opinion. South Carolina last year wasn't really as good as everybody initially thought they'd be this year. But look at the jump that South Carolina's made. In my opinion, they're one of the best teams in the SEC and one of the best teams in the nation, in my opinion, in certain ways. Yeah. Offensively, they've got very good veteran players. You got a good Texas A&M team you can never count out. Auburn is always there. You never know.
Even Florida's good this year. I get Tennessee ran them out of the building in Knoxville, but Florida, they played close with Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They beat them in Gainesville last week to give the Vols an opportunity to win the regular season championship outright, Wednesday in South Carolina. But listen, Hayden, there's going to be top 25 teams that don't get that double bye-in to Friday that are going to have to play Thursday to get to the quarterfinal round. So the SEC, top to bottom, there's those teams at the bottom, kind of like, Vanderbilt and Missouri that, aren't as good as, the rest of the conference. But even Arkansas, they're a 500 team overall on the season. And they went up to Lexington last weekend and gave Kentucky a little bit of a scare. So, top to bottom, the SEC is incredibly difficult this year.
Absolutely. It's like you said, the SEC is always competitive. You never know who's going to come out on top every night. It could be Tennessee one night. Heck, it could be Missouri coming out on top over Tennessee. Obviously, we saw Tennessee struggle against Missouri you never know about that. And obviously when it comes to postseason, it's definitely going to be fun. I've been looking at tickets and looking at the quarterfinals, just tickets overall. They're pretty cheap for the quarterfinal and just to play in and all that. Then once you get to the semifinals, that's when kind of the tickets boost up. So I might take a trip over to Bridgestone Arena to watch the SEC championship.
Hey, for Friday afternoon, that'd be kind of fun. Or Saturday afternoon parts. That would be a really nice trip. So I mean, Nashville's just right up the road for us. The Vols got that number one in front of their name for right now going into the tournament. They're going to have a target on their back, but I feel like, they were preseason voted the team that was going to win the conference, and to actually go out and win it with a target on your back like that is just really showing how tough this team is.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited to see what they do in the tournament. Also coming up the NCAA tournament as well, as they're right now projected to be a number one seed in their region. So we'll see how they do there. Jumping over next, though, let's talk about the NBA. Obviously, we're past the All-Star break. That's when the kind of the season kind of hits a climax, hits the peak. We're starting to hear storylines of, okay, these guys are kind of getting hurt. These guys look like they're the potential MVP candidates. This team right here looks like they're the favorite right now. Oh, this team's getting hot. Michael, I guess we'll answer those questions right now. The East, obviously, Boston. I don't know about Boston, though. You never know with them because, obviously, we saw they're not against
They lost to the Nuggets last night. And now,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Nuggets are, one of the best teams. I think they're third in the West right now. So,
they got the MVP candidate more than likely with Joel Embiid being out as long as he has. It looks like Nikola Jokic will be the MVP this year, either he or Jason Tatum. So, two MVP candidates going head-to-head last night. And it was a very good matchup. But also, you look at Boston. Obviously, they're the team to beat, not just the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA overall. The Knicks, they looked hot. They're a little down with their injuries. OG Anunoby's still out. You got Milwaukee, who took a big-time loss to Golden State the other night. Still trying to figure that out with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, if that's going to work out. Doc Rivers coming in. I mean, he started out.
They hit a little bit of a stride coming out of the All-Star break, but – I do think they're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen Doc Rivers with the Celtics win an NBA championship. So I think, right now they might be hitting a little bit of a skid. But, when it gets to June, I'd watch out for the Bucks.
Yeah, I would too, especially like you said, when it was June. We just talked about it, postseason. You never know who's going to come out on top. And, I mean, the Eastern Conference, they've got their teams. They got Cleveland, who obviously beat the Boston Celtics the other night at Cleveland. They were down 20. First, they had a stat that said, I don't know if you saw it, but when the Celtics were up 20-plus points in the fourth quarter, they were 364-0 at that one point. And then that game, Dean Wade took over, hitting, I believe it was 4 out of 4 threes, having 20 points in the fourth quarter, finished with 22 points on the night. You can't count Cleveland out either. I mean, I honestly haven't really been looking at Cleveland. They're
the third seed in the East right now.
Yeah.
But, hey, listen, a team that's really hot right now, they're on a 5-game win streak. The 4th seed in the East, Orlando.
Orlando's in
they're young. I mean, they're young. They're athletic. They're all over the place. Orlando, I mean, I don't know what it'll look like when it gets to the playoffs because, again, a bunch of young guys that don't have a bunch of postseason experience, but they might be able to make a run.
I mean, obviously with those young guys, you never know when it comes to runs. And speaking of young teams, I guess we'll jump over now to the West. As Michael, that's a toss-up. Obviously, you got the 4 teams. You got the Clippers. You got the Nuggets. You got the Thunder, who's a young team, no playoff experience whatsoever. Then you also got Minnesota, and I mean, just those teams. They got their stars. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Oklahoma. Young team, you don't know. They've never been to the playoffs before. Obviously, going to have more than likely a first 2 rounds. Of hosting those first 2 games of the opening round. Minnesota, I mean, obviously you got Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, superstar written all over him. He reminds me a lot like Michael Jordan. I'm not saying he is Michael Jordan, but I'm just saying the play overall, he reminds me a lot like Michael Jordan, the athleticism.
I was just about to bring that up, that I've seen some comparisons to him and MJ, and I'm not saying he's going to be the GOAT, but, man, that kid is crazy athletic, and he's all over the place, offense, defense, whatever you need, that kid's got it.
Absolutely. With that, and then also when it comes to Minnesota, here's another story that came up. Karl Towns, a big-time player for them. He was also an all-star this year. He will be out at least a month, I'm reading right now, with a torn meniscus. He did have surgery, I believe it was today or yesterday, and they're saying he'll hopefully be back for the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. So we'll see about that. I mean, also looking on the way down, let me pull up the standings. Also, we know with the West, 5 through 10, actually 5 through 11. I mean, it's a toss-up at this point for
it's
guys.
close. I mean, one team goes on a little bit of a run, and just like that, you're in the playoffs. I mean,
absolutely.
The play-in round, the fact that the Lakers and the Warriors are in the play-in right now is just incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the NBA playoffs have a chance to be really fun this year because other than Boston, there's not one top dog. It's usually been like Golden State or the Lakers maybe. It's been like that top dog that everybody's chasing. Other than Boston, there's not really that. It's kind of just been a dogfight everywhere. 2 through 10 on who's going to make the playoffs. Absolutely.
Well, out of the West, obviously, it's Boston's the premier team in the NBA right now. They're the best team in the East. But the West, I feel like, the West it's loaded with stars. There's just not one superior team. You got sections of, like I said, 1 through 4 with the Timberwolves, the Thunder, the Nuggets, and Clippers. Those look like those are going to be the top 4. 5 through 10 when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans, Suns, Kings, Mavericks, Golden State Warriors, and Los Angeles Lakers. Michael, you could make an argument that the Lakers could go on a little bit of run and jump from 10 to 5. I mean, there's only a 5-game difference between the 5th seed to the 10th seed. And from what I've been, I've read from NBA stories, articles, people, local sports people from other teams, First Take, all those teams, they've got one goal in mind: get to the 6th seed. Out of those teams right there, get to the 6th seed. That way you got to worry about the play-in, because right now, if the play-in tournament started today, it'd be the Kings versus the Mavericks, and then Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. Imagine that. Again,
that's crazy. Those are 4 very good teams. Because listen, I get the Lakers are just a hair over 500 right now, but as long as they got that LeBron guy on their team, I'm never going to count them out. I mean, I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but he's got 40,000 points now. So
I mean, overall, you can never count out the Lakers because they got LeBron. I mean,
the same thing with the Warriors and Steph. As long as Steph's pulling from 35 and hitting it, I mean, they're a terrifying team.
They are, and especially how as good as they've looked since the All-Star break. Getting Draymond Green back from the suspension. They've been very good defensively. They've moved their lineup around. Kevon Looney, who was the starter at the start of the year, basically not even playing anymore because Steve Kerr's just been kind of playing around with the lineup. Klay Thompson's coming off the bench now. And in doing so, weird. The team's been tremendously better. And one thing I listened to, it was a few weeks ago, it was Richard Jefferson, I believe it was Kendrick Perkins as well. They were talking about the Klay Thompson situation. I mean, coming off the bench, if you're a starter, your role in that is to be the starter, one of the best players on the court, and start the game off right. Now, with Klay coming off the bench, he doesn't have to worry about starting the game off right. Your job now is to be that spark plug and go get buckets. Obviously, we saw last night against Chicago, they ended up falling short to Chicago last night, but Klay Thompson off the bench had 25 points.
And he's been that guy since he's been coming off the bench. You usually don't see bench scorers in the NBA getting in the 20s. I mean, they will every once in a while. They're usually around the 12 to 18-point range. But having a guy like Klay that can come off the bench, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. He hasn't been, when he's been in the starting lineup, he has not been what we're used to seeing from Klay Thompson. But since he's been coming off the bench, I mean, that dude has been a microwave for that team and really helping them heat up. And, like you said, coming out of the All-Star break, other than last night's loss to Chicago, the Warriors have looked a lot better.
They've looked way better than they have before, especially at the start of the season, below 500. Everybody basically counted them out of being even in the playoffs. And, I mean, there's a bunch of really good teams, in my opinion, that could miss out. Obviously, Sacramento, who was a 3 seed last year, they're the 7th seed. They could miss out. Dallas with Luka and Kyrie, they could miss out of the playoffs. Golden State could be out. The Lakers, the Phoenix Suns, who are a 6 seed. Then again, Kevin Durant based the other night said, "Get on my back, I'm going to go take us to this one." But, I mean, Phoenix, they've been up and down. KD, obviously the best player. Grayson Allen had a tremendous game the other night with 22 points in the first half. Just Phoenix, they have the talent overall to win an NBA championship. It's just
I don't feel like there's been a game for Phoenix where all of them have been healthy and they've been able to have their full roster available for them. I feel like one night D-Book's out, one night Bradley Beal's out, another night KD's out. If they can get all of that together and start stringing, be able to string some games together where everybody's healthy, man, I don't see there's any reason why they can't win the championship. But looking at the standings right here, Hayden, I mean, we're a Houston Rockets run away from them being in the play-in game, and that just feels stupid because, we've seen how bad they've been the past couple of years. I mean, 27-35 is not a good record, but you flip a switch just like that, and you're in the play-in.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. They've got good young talent. They got Dylan Brooks, obviously. He's a veteran type of guy. He's a defensive pest on the defensive side. Can get you a few points on the offensive end, but man, they got a good young group down there in Houston with Jalen Green, second overall pick in the draft a few years ago. Alfred Sengun, that guy is a stud.
Yeah.
He is a stud for Houston.
He's fun to watch, man. I love watching these foreign guys come over like him. Not typically like a Wembanyama kind of guy that's going to go out there and be your best player, but somebody like that that's a flashy, all over the place kind of guy. Those are fun to watch.
He and Victor the other night, I went back and watched the highlights of them going at it. Oh, they were going at it. I mean, they were going at it.
Yeah.
So, I think then again, well, I'm having a hard time processing just who could possibly be eliminated. I mean, it comes down to me thinking that it comes down to health and who's playing at the best time or who's playing the best at the end of the year. I mean, from these teams from 5th to 10th, you could see the Warriors and the Lakers getting left out. Imagine that, Steph Curry and LeBron James not making it to the playoffs. That's
unheard of. I mean, I feel like it's probably been like 50 years since there was a playoff without Steph or LeBron. So, seeing one without them, it would feel, I'm not the biggest LeBron guy, obviously. I love Steph, but seeing a playoff without them, it's going to be weird.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird. But, hey, I'm excited when it comes to this part of the NBA. I know that throughout this whole year it's been a struggle for me to watch NBA. I haven't really found it, very fun to watch. But, it's the start of the season. I like once the peak of the season comes like now it is, where you're getting stories are coming out, guys are fighting for seeding, playoffs are about to start. It's really fun, play-in tournament especially. That's really fun. So I'm really excited about what's coming up in the NBA.
I mean, hey, listen, you got 20 games left. This is kind of where, it comes to the chopping board and who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. That's when the games start getting a little fun because, I don't think we got to talk, or maybe we didn't talk about it very much. The All-Star game was an absolute joke this year.
Yeah.
But, when you see teams actually go out there and try and, they have something on the line, that's when you get some good basketball.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a fun time for the NBA and also just college basketball in general. So I'm looking forward to the next few couple months when it comes to college basketball. March Madness coming up soon and also the NBA playoffs coming up. So we'll be back just shortly for our next segment when it comes to baseball, college baseball, especially with the Tennessee Vols. Michael, this is one you've been dying for me to have on the show, so
I know, man. It's been so long since we've had an episode.
So
yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. So.
Yep. So that'll be next here on the Hayden Burks Show on the X Sports Network.
Got a dent, a ding, a scratch, or a bent fender? Major or minor, Car Country Collision Center in Leoma can fix you up. Car Country works with all insurance carriers, gives free estimates, can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, and has experience you can trust. They've been in business since 1990. Unfortunately, accidents happen, but you can get your car back on the road with as little hassle as possible with the help of Car Country. Call 931-852-4708 or stop by at 2567 Highway 43 South in Leoma.
Hey everyone, this is Landon Saunders.
And this is Nate Patterson with Cloud9 Fiber.
We're excited to finally be able to offer Lawrenceburg our blazing fast, reliable, and affordable fiber internet services.
If you're looking for a more reliable and more affordable provider, we at Cloud9 Fiber have you covered.
Plans start at $50 a month, and we can offer up to a gigabit to your home or business.
We are excited to be able to offer your first month of service entirely free. We encourage you to sign up on cloud9fiber.com or by calling 931-201-9098 so we can help you make the switch today.
For the best meal from south of the border, head to Cocina Real in Puente Grande for lunch and dinner. With a wide array of mouth-watering entrees, there's something for everyone on the menu. And you can't forget the cheese dip. They'll treat you like family, and you'll never leave hungry. Make Cocina Real Mexican Restaurant and Puente Grande Mexican Restaurant your choice for authentic cuisine, located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network. As Michael, it's your favorite topic. Obviously, it's baseball time in Tennessee. The Tennessee Vols currently are number 7 in the nation, 13-1 overall. They defeated Southern Indiana the other day with a 2-1 victory over them. And obviously, Michael, there's a bunch of good teams in the nation, especially the SEC. Tennessee looks like they're one of those teams again this year. What's the expectation, obviously, for you? You know it better than I do, obviously, with you being over there watching their games. Every game they have won. Seems like you're there. I see on your Snapchat story. So
I try to stay around Lindsey Nelson. So expectations, as long as Tony V's the guy at the helm, Omaha is always going to be the expectation. I didn't really know what to expect coming into this season because you realize you lost a bunch of guys from an Omaha team. But we got a bunch of young guys filling in. The outfield it's shifting every day because we have so many bats that we just can't use all of them at the same time. The infield has looked tremendous, really solid. A big breakout guy, shortstop freshman Dean Curley. And that kid can swing a bat. He had 3 home runs the other night against Kansas State, who was ranked to begin the season, aren't anymore. The Vols won that game 15-5. Dean Curley went 3 for 5, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. I mean, he hit a grand slam, a 3-run homer, a 2-run homer, and was about 5 feet away from a solo shot. And, the home run cycle, you don't ever see that. So, it's incredible for him. The Vols are bringing in Illinois this weekend, who is, they've shown some sparks of being a really good team. One thing that I look at this Tennessee team a little bit differently than we have seen in the past is their pitching has really been a question mark. And I'm not, knocking any talent or anything. With A.J. Russell being hurt, we've had a different Sunday starter, it feels like, every Sunday. That pitching rotation isn't solidified yet, and you might not want it solidified in March. You want it to be, kind of nailed down in May or June. But the arms have looked good. We just haven't really found any consistency yet, so that's always going to be a big question mark. But as long as you have Drew Beam on the mound, you can go ahead and almost chalk that day up as a W. But it's looking to be a fun spring in Knoxville with the Vols coming back in.
Absolutely, and obviously we know Tennessee baseball. It's one of the biggest time of the year for us as fans. But overall, just the team. It's the start of the year though. They're only 13-1. They're a good young team. That's the best part about it. They are a very good young team. When it comes to plate, I have no issue with them at all. They can obviously smoke the baseball off the bat. Then again, it comes to defense. Obviously, the infield is elite in my opinion. The outfield play is also elite. But then again, like you said, the pitching is kind of questionable. Then again, you got guys that are hurt. And just overall, the team, obviously, like you said, it's a different team. Just what do you think when it comes to SEC play, what to expect this year from Tennessee?
Man, the SEC is tough again this year. And that's the thing, everybody's talking about how good the SEC is in football, and which they are. I mean, no knocking that. It was a little down this year because we didn't have a team in the national championship. But basketball, it's been top to bottom really good. Man, baseball, it feels like they have the entire top 25. I mean, Vanderbilt's going to be good again this year. Florida's going to be good again this year. LSU's back and ready to go again. Arkansas is really good again this year. I mean, you could be the 7th-ranked team in the country and be the 6th best team in your conference in the SEC. That's just how it is. The Vols are playing most of those teams this year. I know LSU makes a trip to Knoxville, which is going to be a very fun weekend because of the we got to see them 2 times in Omaha last year. We've got a little history with LSU in baseball. We go to Nashville and play Vanderbilt. I think we head to College Station and play the Aggies. We got a bunch of tough teams and in this conference this year. So conference play it's going to be very tough. You might drop a couple series here or there, But listen, if Tennessee's bats are on, you just better hope that your bats are too, because you're not going to be able to keep up with us. Because, I mean, there's probably 15 guys on our roster that I feel comfortable playing any day just because of how good they are. I mean, we've got transfers like Billy Amick, who has been tremendous this year. You got guys like Robin Villeneuve. He's a JUCO transfer. He hits the ball really well. Christian Morris started off the season hot. Blake Burks' bat's heating up. The entire outfield has got, power from, just wherever you need it. And transfer catcher Cannon Peebles, he started the season a little slow. But, having a switch bat in your lineup and as productive as he's been this week, you watch out for him being an all-SEC type of hitter.
Absolutely, especially we just said it, the bats, we have no question about that. You just said it when it comes to SEC play. If Tennessee's hitting the ball, look out. You better be hitting it too, or I don't like your chances of winning. And, I mean, speaking of conference play, it's right around the corner, though. I mean, they got Alabama at
next
Tuscaloosa
weekend.
March 15th. So just Alabama's no joke either when it comes to baseball. Obviously, we think of them as a football school. Basketball, they've been pretty good the past few years. And then, baseball, they're starting to come alive now. So it's not going to be a gimme for Tennessee in the SEC this year. And obviously, like you said, there's a bunch of good teams. Alabama, Arkansas, LSU is one of the premier schools. They were the national champs last year. So, overall talent-wise, what's the difference, in your opinion, when it comes to SEC and Tennessee and just overall in the entire nation? You got a good team like Wake Forest and other teams like that, TCU.
Well, most of those top 10 teams right now have their Friday, Saturday, Sunday starters kind of laid out, barring any injuries. Tennessee is one of those teams that doesn't have that as of now because, their Friday night premier guy has been A.J. Russell the first couple of weeks. He came out, I believe it was the series against Bowling Green, it was Albany. Came out with a little bit of elbow soreness, so he hasn't pitched since then. But A.J. Causey, a transfer from Jacksonville State, has been our Friday night guy. He has been doing a tremendous job. He was tremendous, traditionally a bullpen guy. You got Drew Beam on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's typically a bullpen game. You got some guys that can go some innings. AJ, I think his name's AJ Sneed, a transfer from Wichita State. He's got a flamethrower for an arm. You got Aaron Combs, who's coming back from last year. He's got a good arm. Marcus Phillips, another guy that can get up to triple digits. So, if we can find that third Sunday starter, I think our bullpen will be fine. Watch out for the Vols come May or June.
Absolutely, and that's my favorite time of year going to that. The last year during the May and June when they played Clemson, dude, the extra innings. That's probably one of the best. That's probably one of the best baseball games I've seen in a long time, in my opinion. And just the excitement, just the excitement. What's the energy like when it comes to baseball season? Obviously, you're in Knoxville. That's where you go to school. Every time it seems like they got a baseball game, I see you. You're at the stadium watching their game. Just obviously, we know the energy when it comes to basketball and football at Tennessee. When it comes to energy, I don't know if many people know about, just Tennessee overall when it comes to energy, when it comes to baseball season, especially as good as they've been the last few years.
Yeah, see, Lindsey Nelson is one of the smaller stadiums in the country. It only holds about, before the construction, about, maybe 4,000 to 5,000 fans. So you don't think of that as being such a big environment. They've done some construction. They've added a bunch more seats as of now. There are more coming in the future. Man, that atmosphere. We played Albany, who is not a very good team at all. No hate against them. It's just a smaller school. You don't expect them to compete with the SEC. Man, anytime a ball went in the air, that place exploded. And it's that was in February. If they're watching ball in February, just imagine how crazy that place is going to be when SEC play starts. And I can't wait for it because the atmosphere in Lindsey Nelson on an SEC baseball weekend is unmatched.
Yeah, and that's also what I like about their schedule so far. It seems like every game that they played this year, it's been in Knoxville, getting used to that stadium. And that's huge when it comes to baseball and getting used to the fields. It might be a turf field, just getting used to where you're going to be playing at, and that's just big because atmosphere, that's huge in baseball. Obviously, it comes down to the players. You got to be good at the plate, have good at-bats. You got to have good defense, got to have good pitchers on the mound, being able to have the bullpen ready to go, having some backup guys ready to go with some reserves. Just overall, the team, the SEC and just this team this year, like you said, they do have their question marks when it comes to the bullpen, but also that has to do with injuries. But overall, I like this team's chances this year when it comes to SEC and also making a run when it comes to World Series.
And hey, my favorite thing about this team so far, it's a bunch of new guys. Blake Burke and Christian Moore are back, but really, other than that, other than Hunter Inslee in center field, everybody else is a new starter. And they've come out, they've had some high run games. They've got a little swagger about them. You don't know how these guys are going to change the atmosphere in Knoxville because Hayden, we've seen it the past couple of years. These Tennessee teams, they've had a little bit of they've had a high ego. I'll just go ahead and put it out. They've had a high ego, and this team's kind of matching that energy, and that's what I think makes them so fun to watch, man. I mean, you get a runner on first and second, a guy with a decent power coming up to the plate. You can feel the excitement, and that dude's ready to go up there and start hacking, and it's fun to watch, man. It's just I think we're going to be in for a special season in Knoxville.
Absolutely, and just one thing I noticed about Tennessee, they're very good at the plate. Obviously we know we've talked about this whole segment, and we've talked about in the past. Tennessee very good at the plate, but what I'm really impressed is that they don't leave many guys on the bags. Like when there's guys on the plate, or excuse me, on base, when you got on first and second, they're really good at making sure to get them in position to score. And that's what I'm really impressed by Tennessee in the past.
Yeah, last season they had a big problem with leaving guys on base because you would have your lineup would be structured in a way where you could get 2 or 3 hits in a row, but that fourth guy, say the bases are loaded, he might strike out or ground into a double play. This year, man, it seems like once that first guy gets on, the next guy's getting on, and the next guy's getting on. I mean, we had, I believe it was an 11-run inning against, I think it was East Tennessee State.
ETSU, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, once one guy gets on, the next guy wants to do the same thing and the same thing and the same thing. So as long as they're able to keep stringing hits together and and stuff like that, I mean, this team has such good chemistry. You can just tell already through 14 games that I think that this team has what it takes to make it to June and maybe hopefully see them in Omaha.
Absolutely. So I'm real excited I'm already ready for the postseason when it comes to baseball. I want to see some good baseball.
We haven't even got the conference play, and we're ready to go to Omaha.
Yeah, exactly. I'm already ready for Omaha, and we haven't even got the conference play yet. And so I'm excited for conference play, seeing what other SEC teams bring, kind of what we, once we get to conference, you kind of, this is any sport, once you get to conference, you kind of learn about your team, kind of learn about your strengths and weaknesses. So I'm really excited to see what Tennessee brings to the table when it comes to playing Alabama, Ole Miss, and the teams they'll be playing coming up in conference. So that'll do it for our baseball segment. So coming up next here on the Hayden Burks Show, we're going to be talking about a little bit of NFL sports and talking about just overall stories going into next season draft and also free agents coming up here on the Egg Sports Network.
I'm Mike Keith, and my friends at Elliott Johnson Insurance have a great partner in Auto Owners Insurance. Auto Owners makes it easy to get life, home, car, or business insurance. Let Elliott Johnson Insurance find the Auto Owners policy that makes a difference in your life. Call Elliott Johnson Insurance at one of their 3 locations, Florence, Loretto, and Lawrenceburg. Elliott Johnson Insurance, moving forward for our clients every day.
Welcome to Employee Resources Credit Union, where you're more than just a number, you're family. We provide financial solutions that rise above those of traditional banks. With roots stretching back to 1964, we've served 4 generations during constant industry changes. We're known for our low fees and incredible rates. Join us and experience the credit union difference. ERCU, not for profit, for service.
For decades, First Class Charter has provided high-quality motor coach transportation services to the Tennessee Valley. With numerous safety and cleanliness accreditations, First Class Charter is ready to make your group trip a reality. Contact us today by visiting firstclasscharter.net. First Class Charter, the official motor coach company of the North Alabama Lions.
Flooring sets the tone throughout your home.
For flooring that makes the right first impression, start by choosing us, Floored by Justin.
A one-stop flooring destination. Our new location stands alone for unequaled customer service and selection. Owner Justin Story's mastery of custom hardwood inlays means every room can have a custom look. Discover how the right choice of hardwood, laminate, carpet, or tile can set the tone in your home. Contact Floored by Justin today.
The Summit of Lawrenceburg is the premier senior and assisted living community in the region. The Summit makes it home for you or your loved one with diverse suites that welcome and encourage community, plus gathering spaces, neighborhoods, daily activities, and a wonderful staff that supports you every day.
Hi, I'm Tara Blue. I'm the new director of the Summit, and we would like to invite you and your family to come and tour our facility. We would love to see you here.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network. Michael, it's time for some football. Obviously, football season's over for not just college, but also for the NFL. Saw Kansas City go back-to-back. They defeated the 49ers in the Super Bowl. You and I, we've had our talks about that. AJ, Dusty, Clint, and I, we've also had our talks about that game. Kansas City, I mean, how can you not say they're not the favorites next year either?
I mean, listen, to be nice, they were not very good this year, and they still won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he's starting to look. I'm starting to look at him kind of like LeBron in a way, because when he gets to the postseason, man, you can't count him out until he's out.
You can.
I mean, it's simple as that. He kept winning. He kept beating teams that he was not supposed to beat. And, you know, I mean, three or four games in a row. I mean, went to Buffalo, won. Went to Baltimore, won, and then played San Francisco, who was, you know, notably the best team in the NFL, and beat them too. I mean, it's hard not to pick against them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, especially with the chemistry Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes have. That defense is legit when it comes to postseason. I mean, like you said, when you got Patrick Mahomes on your team, you can never count them out. I mean, they look like they're going to be. I mean, going into the playoffs, it looked like, oh well, they might make the divisional round, but after that, Buffalo will get them or Baltimore will get them in the AFC champ. When you got Patrick Mahomes on your team, you can never count them out. So I mean, that was just the story in the season. But also, there's some other stories coming up. Obviously, we saw earlier this week what we all kind of expected. AJ even called it in our kind of our college game day type of vibes for the Jamboree. We had our predictions. He said Russell Wilson would get benched and he'd get cut, and AJ was right. He did get benched at the end of the season last year, and then he just got cut last week. And I mean, Russell Wilson, I like what AJ put, the quote, unproven quarterback, even though he's won Super Bowl in the past, and he's probably, I'm not going to say he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he's a very good quarterback at his position.
Listen, I mean, I know Brock Purdy gets a lot of crap for being considered a game manager. I think Russell Wilson is a really good game manager. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to go to a playoff, a sort of a playoff-ready team, one that's like a quarterback away from a playoff run. Go take the veteran minimum because he's still getting $80 million from Denver, which I think is looking back is the stupidest contract of all time.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And giving up all Denver giving up the trade assets for that. I don't know how long. I was talking to AJ. I think they've still got their draft picks for not just this draft, but next year's draft as well. So yeah, Denver, it's not looking good over there, especially with Sean Payton. Then again, I think that was just something where, I mean, obviously, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson have issues. I don't know. I'm not going to say they didn't like each other, but I mean, it's trending that way that they
didn't.
I mean, it's simple. A quarterback and a head coach butting heads, you can't have that. And obviously we saw it. The Broncos, cutting Russell Wilson, a good quarterback in this league. He's not as good as he once was, but he's still a good quarterback that somebody would want on their team. And I mean, I guess the story is now for Russell Wilson, where you go. Obviously, I mean, I'm looking at the Pat McAfee show, and on their segment they're talking about Russell Wilson. He's supposed to be meeting with the Steelers.
Oh,
yeah. So,
I haven't heard that. I've heard Minnesota a couple times. I have not heard Pittsburgh. That one's intriguing.
I knew Minnesota would be there. I've heard Atlanta. I'm not sure about Atlanta.
Atlanta would be a good fit for him.
Atlanta,
just that weapons they have around.
Yeah. Steelers.
They need a quarterback.
They've got their issues too. Obviously, don't know who their quarterback is. Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. If Mitch Trubisky, they say that is their guy, then they're just out of their mind. Kenny Pickett, I don't know what the issue is with that. Obviously, he can't stay healthy. Russell Wilson, he's older too. You got to question health as well for him. Then you also got the Mike Tomlin issue. I don't know if the Steelers would be the right pick. If I were Russell Wilson, you got an elite, if not the best wide receiver in Minnesota in Justin Jefferson. Go take a shot at Minnesota.
Listen, their offense is good, and Kirk Cousins is coming off an Achilles injury. He's going to be a free agent coming up. I'm not sure where he'll be looking. I mean, Minnesota kind of seems like a place for Kirk Cousins, but I mean, they kind of have a pick'em of free agent quarterbacks up there, and it's kind of just who Justin Jefferson prefers because that dude is one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this is just me. In my opinion, he's top 2. I think it's Tyreek Hill number 1, and then Justin Jefferson.
I agree,
and it's not that much a difference at all. Like Tyreek Hill, he's been there, he's done that. He's won a Super Bowl with Kansas City. I mean, obviously this year he was a historically, stat-wise, amazing for Miami with the receiving yards he had this year, and just overall his play for Miami, and with he and Tua down there, it's pretty special what they got in Miami. But just overall, I mean, I really don't know where you go for Russell Wilson. I did see this, though, and I don't think there's no chance in what of this happening.
Mm-hmm.
On Get Up a few weeks ago, they were talking about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson being a 1-2 for New York Jets. I don't know. I want to ask you how you feel about that, or what do you think about that? I think it's just the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love Mike Greenberg with all of my heart. I used to watch Mike and Mike in the morning growing up, back when that was still a thing on ESPN. But yeah, that's probably the poorest take of it. Why would you want 2 quarterbacks? I get you don't have to pay anything for Russell Wilson, but you have Aaron Rodgers. If he's healthy, he's going to be good. I mean, I don't see the need in having 2. I mean, I get Zach Wilson is not a very good backup, but I don't think Russell Wilson is going to go somewhere where he's going to be the number 2 guy. That's just not who he is. Especially,
I mean, like, he's still got talent. If he gets in the right situation, they might be able to make a playoff run. I don't think he's a cute Super Bowl quarterback anymore. We'll just have to see. He's just got to be in the right situation. I think there's 2 places for him to go. Minnesota 1 and Atlanta 2. Those are the 2 places.
I mean, if you give him somewhere where he has weapons around him, I think he's going to be, that Seahawks Russell Wilson we saw. I mean, nothing against the Broncos, but Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy was all he had, and nothing against either of those 2 guys. They're professional football players, and that shows how good they are. But I mean, if you want Russell Wilson to be that guy, you have to give him a true wide receiver 1, which I don't think either of those guys really are.
I mean, if he goes to Minnesota, he's got a good offense. Obviously, he's got they don't have a running back because they did cut their running back.
He's got an all-pro wide receiver and a probably an all-pro tight end too in Hawkinson.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about him. I did forget about him in Minnesota. I mean, they got some good. He's got targets to throw to. Now, when it comes to other play like running the football, yards on. I mean, Russell Wilson. He's not an out-of-pocket quarterback. He's not that. I mean, he never really was that, and especially
he can move around in the pocket a little bit. Kind of like what we saw with Bryce Young at Alabama. I mean, definitely not the same degree, but a guy that can move around the pocket, but we're not going to see him run a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a guy that's going to extend plays. I mean, he's got to find his targets, and if he doesn't get it, then you're in trouble on that drive. But I mean, overall, like he's got Justin Jefferson, he's got the tight end. I mean, they did cut their running back the other day, so offensively they're going to have to plug some holes. But obviously, overall, when it comes to him having targets, he's got what he needs over in Minnesota. So I think, me personally, I think the best destination for him, if Kirk Cousins doesn't come back to Minnesota, he will be in Minnesota. That's just me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, I don't see any reason why Minnesota would want to move on from Kirk Cousins. It's kind of probably just be on his end coming back from this injury. I mean, Kirk's getting a little older, but I mean, I still think Minnesota is a good fit for Kirk Cousins. He's done great things for that city. I mean, he was hurt this year. Justin Jefferson was hurt. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. But typically, they're a playoff contender every year with him. I mean, maybe not Super Bowl contenders, but I mean, they're still going to be a very good football team.
Yeah, they're going to be a very good football team.
I think with whoever they choose.
Yeah, and especially with even our guy, Joshua Dobbs, they looked like they were going to be in the playoffs. Then, the injuries also came up with Dobbs. He was fighting some things, and also just overall the team in general. Just I wouldn't say fell off a cliff, but they just didn't hit their stride and weren't able to make the playoffs. So, I mean, they still got a good team in Minnesota, and there's also some good teams around the NFL overall, and just the teams that aren't good that will be drafting up, and we'll talk about the draft right now. I mean, where the Bears go? We've heard, all right, Caleb Williams, they're going to trade Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is going to be the #1 pick. Okay, now we're leaning towards Justin Fields being the guy, and Caleb Williams, they might not look to get him. Now it's kind of the thing of Chicago now is like taking another turn, saying, all right, we're going to take Caleb Williams, but we're not sure what we're going to do with Justin Fields yet. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know which direction Chicago's going right now.
Yeah, they're kind of just running in circles right now. I mean, there's not much looking up for them. I mean, they're kind of just in such of a poor spot right now that there really is nowhere but down for them to go. I think if they do want to take Caleb Williams, that they need to. I think Justin Fields will try to go to a team like, hopefully they could trade him to a team like Atlanta or like we were saying, Minnesota or Pittsburgh or something like that, and give him a team that he can run. Because it felt like every Sunday watching the Bears, it was Justin Fields in the shotgun and then Justin Fields running for his life and then throwing it away or trying to get it to DJ Moore or someone like that.
I mean, I like Justin Fields. Like I know there's not many people fond of his play, but I think he's a very good athletic quarterback in the NFL. And I think he does deserve a spot in the NFL. He deserves a job to be a quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, Chicago, it might not be the right fit, but obviously we've seen from Chicago fans they really do like Justin Jefferson, and there's a lot of question marks around Caleb Williams. Me personally, I'm not going to say he's overrated, but I don't think he's that guy.
I don't think his attitude matches his ability.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's the best way to describe him.
I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the class. Don't get me wrong by saying that, but obviously, if I had #1 pick and I want a quarterback, I'm probably taking Drake May.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to hop up into that, one tier with May and Williams. But, I mean, if you got to choose between May and Williams, I mean, it's really a toss-up. I mean, they both have their pluses. They both have their minuses. It's kind of just what you prefer. So, I mean, I think Chicago will have a new starting quarterback next year, whether it's May or Williams. But I think we're going to see some shakeup with this draft class because it's very interesting. Especially with the NFL Combine going on last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just quarterbacks. Also, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver from Ohio State. Where's he going to end up? Everybody was thinking he was going to be the first overall pick. Now it looks like he dropped maybe to 4 or 5. I don't know who would pick him up, though. I mean, there's a lot of interest from those teams. You got New England, who's probably more likely going to take a quarterback, move on from Mac Jones. They're going to have a restart with a new head coach, what's his name? The guy from Tennessee.
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, Gerard Mayo, yeah. He was the successor to Bill Belichick. I think he'll do a great job in New England. I mean, that's going to be a reset there. The Commanders, they're going to have a new head coach. They got Dan Quinn coming in from the Cowboys. He'll be the new head coach. I mean, Chicago, we know what direction more than likely they're going to go. They're going to go quarterback if they do select there. Commanders, more likely they're going to go quarterback as well. New England quarterback. You got Arizona. What do you do with Arizona? I mean, if Marvin Harrison's there, more than likely you got to pick him, right?
You got to pick him. I mean, you got Kyler Murray. I mean, why not give him somebody to throw to? I mean, he's lost DeAndre Hopkins. He's lost guys like Larry Fitzgerald in his time there. So, get him a young guy that's like those guys that can go up and win a one-on-one ball every time. Maybe Arizona can start stirring some things up out west.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona, they had that one good run, and then Kyler Murray being injured just kind of fell off a cliff. I feel for Kyler Murray, but then again, I kind of don't, just because it's not that I don't like him. It's just it's hard for his size to be a quarterback and be successful in the NFL. I hope he proves me wrong saying that, but again, at that level, and kind of the same thing with Bryce Young. Then again, Bryce Young is an athlete. Don't get me wrong. I think he can make up for it. But Kyler Murray, Bryce Young is what, 6 foot, 6'1", something like that.
I think he might be closer to the 5'10", 5'11" range, right there with Kyler.
Yeah, he's undersized too for a quarterback. But then again, they make up for it with their athleticism. So I'm not saying they're not going to be good quarterbacks. I'm just saying it's hard from track record and history that those guys do struggle. So, then again, I'm also excited for the draft, seeing what teams select what. Obviously, Tennessee, more than likely, it looks like they're going to go with the kid from Notre Dame, the offensive tackle. They'll take him more than likely, unless for some reason they decide to draft up and get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know why they do that. Just
I've
because
seen a Roma Dunze, the receiver from Washington. I've seen his name thrown around a little bit.
I forgot about that. Washington, he'll be available. I don't know if they'll take him. I mean, they could. Then again, Traylon Burks, obviously, he's had his ups and downs. Don't know about him. DeAndre Hopkins, he's obviously on the back end of his career. How does he fit in with the Tennessee timeline? Will Levis, he'll be his second year under center.
And again, T. Higgins is coming up in free agency. Maybe
actually they did.
Maybe they can try to snag him.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. So they franchise tagged him also. Oh, another topic that AJ, Dusty, and I were talking about it. Saquon Barkley. Where's he going to end up?
I don't know, man. NFL running back free agency is about as tough to pick as there is with anything. I mean,
you got Derrick
we've seen with Derrick Henry and guys like that you can get 5 or 6 good years out of somebody that you want to use as a run between the tackles kind of guy. You know, I think Saquon's kind of at the back end of that. You know, he's had some injury troubles as of late. You know, maybe he can go somewhere and, I mean, Tennessee might not be a bad option for him. You know, him and Tajay Spears running a little 1-2 punch in the backfield, because in the NFL nowadays you have to have 2 running backs.
Yeah, you have to have 2 running backs, especially I think for Derrick Henry, I don't know where in the world he would fit in with this. They've said the Cowboys. I think the Bills would be good for him with James Cook. Is that his name, James Cook? I know his brother.
Yeah.
James Cook, I think Derrick Henry would be good in Buffalo. For Kansas City, I don't think Kansas City would be bad for Derrick Henry. Obviously, you're going to be joining the team with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. You won't have to carry the ball as many times as you had to in Tennessee. It felt like, they were running the football every chance they had with Derrick Henry, and he was getting beat up. And then again, even though he's a big dude, a really big running back, 2,000-yard career season one time, or 2,000 yards rushing a few seasons ago. I mean, at that age and to be that big, it's going to start hurting. It's going to start hurting.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see that. I really don't know where Henry would be a good fit. And the thing is, he was the second leading rusher in the NFL last year behind Christian McCaffrey. And it seems like teams are kind of cautious to take him because he's going to want a lot of money. I mean, he's still a premier back, but I think he's starting to kind of, maybe taper off a little bit. But, Kansas City does sound kind of interesting, though. I haven't heard that one yet, but that could be a spot for him. Him and Pacheco in that backfield would be scary to be a linebacker. I'll just put it that way.
You have Pacheco coming at you, and then he comes out of the game like, oh, crap, we got to stop this monster now. But then again, like you said, he was second in rushing last season. Then again, he had a horrible offensive line. So he probably could have been number one if he had a good offensive line in Tennessee. But
by far,
you know how I feel about Tennessee, though.
Because I feel like he was doing he was second in NFL in rushing and was probably like 20th in yards per carry. Because it felt like he would just run up the middle and get 2 yards every time, and then
that 2 yards add up.
Like that was all he could do.
Yep. So, but it's gonna be fun. Obviously, we'll see. I love postseason, preseason stuff where people gonna end up free agency, who gets drafted where, storylines that come up. Oh, this guy got injured in training camp. How's he gonna be when he first comes back? So. Me as a sports fan, this is my favorite part of the season, preseason, free agency, drafts. That's what I love about sports in general.
Yeah, it's kind of like my favorite part in, when you'd build like a franchise or a dynasty in Madden or NCAA football, that offseason when you got guys, transferring, trading, getting hurt, getting better, getting worse, building your schedule, stuff like that. The offseason, you don't get any ball, but it's still very fun. Absolutely. As a fan.
So. It's going to be a fun time. Just overall, we're in basketball season, starting up baseball season. Football is going to be around the corner before you even know it. So it's fun being a sports fan. So that'll do it for our football segment. Coming up for our final segment, it'll be our sports Q&A as we're going to get some questions from our viewers watching. That'll be next here on the X Sports Network.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
Make your property rock and roll with services from G&S Excavating, specializing in white sand, compost, mulch, topsoil, landscape gravel, and steel landscape edging. Turn to the pros who know how to make your project shine with years of experience. The best part is they're locally owned and operated. Choose from a vast selection of mulch and rock from their conveniently located facility at number 3 Valley Road in Lawrenceburg, just off Buffalo Road. Phone 931-279-3841 and get started today.
Hey, this is Phil Hooper. Get the look you want for your favorite school, church, or business with apparel from HD Ink Screen Printing in Leoma, Tennessee. Got a logo you need embroidered or screen printed? Let HD Ink give you the professional look that sets the bar in today's world. We do fundraisers and custom designed apparel and so much more. Call today, 931-201-2961, or come see us at our new shop located at 26 Ingram Road in Leoma. Remember, HD Ink for the look you want and the look you deserve.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Hammock, General Manager here at Heritage Automotive, your Chevy GMC dealer in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. I'm from Marshall County, Tennessee, where I went to Cornersville High School. I attended Cumberland University. After Cumberland, I went into the United States Marine Corps to serve the country. After that, I went right back into the car business. I'm very familiar with the car business. I have been around the car business pretty much my entire life. And my commitment to you is to ensure the most competitive new and used vehicle pricing on the market, as well as the best service around. Well, we'll treat you like family here at Heritage Automotive in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network. As Michael, it's one of our favorite segments. It is the Sports Q&A, and we'll start with our first question from Carter Henson. What are the chances for Tennessee in the NCAA tournament this year? And Michael, obviously with Tennessee basketball, that's kind of been the bump in the road for Tennessee. It looks like they've in the past have really good teams, and they've just come up short when it comes to Sweet 16, the round of 32. They haven't been put out in the round of 64 in the past lately, but just kind of, I mean, they ran into Loyola Chicago, who's the Cinderella story that year, ran into them, got put out. Just overall, you know, more than likely right now it looks like they're going to be a number one seed in their region. But overall, this team, compared to past teams, I don't really see many flaws except, you know, having maybe those one games where it's kind of a nail biter. Yeah, and obviously with Dalton Connect, he's obviously been the man for Tennessee this year. Just overall, the teams that they're going to be playing, it looks like Purdue, they'll obviously be a number one seed team, probably one of the favorites. You got Arizona. It looks like they'll be a 2. Houston looks like the premier dominant team. UConn as well, offensively, they've stepped enough a notch. We know their defense is legit, one of the best in the nation. Overall, though, this team, you know, if they take care of business, they look like the team to beat overall, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely, especially just, I mean, in the past, we talk about it, they've had their upsets, but, you know, just something about this team this year. It really seems like they're overall just all around a very good team. Like I said earlier, they did have their flaws. It felt like just the hiccups, the teams they run into. But just overall, this team, I feel like if they get to that point where they get past those road bumps, I mean, it's the mindset of the rearview mirror, don't look that way. The windshield's in front of you. It's tunnel vision at that point, in my opinion. Absolutely. So, I mean, then again, I mean, that's kind of looking ahead a little bit. Obviously, they've got the SEC tournament coming up. Then they got March Madness coming up. It's a fun time for college basketball. Obviously, I'm already kind of studying, looking into my brackets, kind of who will do what. I mean, obviously, I'll make my Tennessee one, but then again, I'll have to kind of look at everybody and see how teams match up, who will they meet each other in which round. So I'm real excited about that. So that'll do it here on the Hayden Burks Show here on the X Sports Network. As Michael finally got an episode in after a long time, had a few technical difficulties throughout the last few weeks, but hey, finally got through a show with not many technical difficulties, but hey, we're still going to push through it, and it's always good to see. And hopefully I get to see you sometime this week because I know you'll be heading home. Absolutely. So that'll do it here on the Hayden Burks Show. My name is Hayden Burks, joined alongside my co-host Michael Marks and producer extraordinaire Kevin Wright. We will have the game audio only for Loretta versus Gatlinburg-Pittman tonight in the state semifinals. Later tonight at 5:30 at the Murphy Center MTSU. We will have that on the X Sports Network, as that will be it here on the Hayden Burks Show.
Going the distance with local sports. This is the X Sports Network.